Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Green Bay Packers all-time leading rusher, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access post-game show. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on Packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_Access. Joined alongside Emilio in Tennessee. We got Tim in Green Bay to talk about this tough loss to the Denver Broncos on the road, 34-26. Man, this was a wild game. I actually enjoyed this game outside of all the injuries. It sucks that the injuries they kind of scream to the forefront, if you will. And we'll dive into all the details. We'll get you guys the box score. We'll obviously give you the playoff picture update, all that stuff. We'll have to talk about the negative aspect of all of the injuries. Obviously, it's showing a clip right here of Patrick Surtain coming over and shaking Micah Parsons' hand there as he was helped off the field. So much we can cover here. Let's start with the key ingredients that we always kind of dive into. Middle eight, Green Bay dominated 17-7. You're looking really good at this point. Second half, it was the tale of two halves. It really was. Denver ends up winning the turnover differential 2-1, and the defensive adjustments that Vance Joseph made in that second half. My, man, you got to tip your cap. And again, I don't want to sit here and say we lost this game because of all the injuries. You can't ignore it, but I also want to be very, very clear in my opinion. You guys may disagree. Denver Broncos got a hell of a football team, man. Bo Nix is scrappy. As I was watching them in the second half, you know what I thought of? Being completely honest, this kind of feels like the 2010 Packers. Him scrambling around like Aaron did, making plays, off tilt throw, just making something out of nothing. The defense playing like the top defense in the league, just like the Packers had the number one defense in the league. So the moral of the story, you were down. I sent you guys these lists here. And you guys correct me if I'm wrong here. Obviously, you're already down Tucker Kraft, Devontae White, your starting center, Elton Jenkins, and then you end up losing Zach Tom, right? Have we heard anything on that, boys? Anything at all? Is it just me, or did that? I don't want to speculate too much, but that kind of looked like a nasty knee injury, right? Do y'all agree with that? Or yeah, okay.
He was standing up last time I saw him, and then was on the ground playing. I mean, he was kind of blocking the dude, but
yeah,
didn't look great.
So you lose Zach Tom, you lose your number one receiver in Christian Watson, who's been on an absolute heater. You've seen the offense really change in the second half. It's easy to look up and go, man, we struggled in the second half. Yeah, we were without Christian, and obviously that deep threat, they were able to clamp down a little bit more. And then, of course, Micah Parsons going out with what appears to be a devastating knee injury. We'll see when we get the exact details of that. I think we all think we know what it is, but sucks. And listen, that's the downside to when you go all in and you put a lot of money on a player. That's the downside, And I'm not saying we shouldn't have done it. You guys know I'm on board with him. Still on board. I think it's the right move.
Right.
But when you go all in on a player like that, and they go down with an injury, man, it's really, really unfortunate. It
just shines a big, huge spotlight on it is what it does, Clay, and it just sort of brings everything to light, backlights it, spotlights it, whatever you want to do, man, and that's just the worst part about it.
Hey, King Tron, we see your super chats, buddy. Appreciate you. We're going to hit those. I'm going to go around the horn here once and let the guys kind of give their opinion. I don't care whoever wants to go first is good with me. You guys go right ahead. What's your initial thoughts on this 34-26 loss to I think they're the number one seed there in the AFC with the Patriots losing today.
Yeah, good game. It just tough. It was a good game, like you said, all the way up and until the end of it, right? A couple of injuries that were tough that are really going to sort of shape the season, but it's something that, you have to deal with. Obviously, it's always next man up, but like we've talked about, high profile, Micah, Zach Tom, all those things are just tough way to stack on top of a loss. But we knew we were going up against basically the number one defense, super strong team. They were 11-2 for a reason. Yeah, they won some close games, but it was, whatever the record is who they are. So it was a tough game, but man, injuries were the worst part of it.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Tim, what's your initial thoughts, buddy?
Man, we need an O-line. we need an O-line, guys. They looked okay early in the game, it seemed like, but just couldn't they were just overwhelmed by that defensive front. And, it got to the point there towards the end, I was really starting to get worried about Jordan back there. All the injuries that we've already sustained in this ball game. And now you got QB1 out there trying to play hero ball at the end, trying to find a way to will us into the end zone. I mean, that was a little dangerous, but yeah, not pleased with the way the O-line played today. I think that was probably one of the worst performances we've seen this year. Just some undisciplined football, particularly Rasheed Walker, a lot of penalties, needless penalties that really hurt us. A couple that were probably debatable, but just a tough loss for this team. It's easy to feel gutted. I feel just as gutted as anyone else. It's devastating when you lose, top caliber talent on your team one by one in a ball game. But there's 53 on this roster for a reason, and our season isn't over until it's over. So I don't want to hear any of the negative nonsense. We still get to put belt to ass in Chicago next week on national TV for everyone to see. So, am I worried? Sure, obviously. Am I concerned? Obviously. But I believe in this team. So it's not over till it's over, guys.
All right. Tim, bringing the positivity that I need tonight. King Tron with the first super chat. Appreciate you, buddy. He says, number 1, that's Micah. Number 9, that's Christian. Number 50, that's Zach Tom. Number 11, that's Jaden Reed. Number 8, that's Josh Jacobs. We didn't even talk about Josh Jacobs. I mean, that dude, he looked like he was doing everything he could to try to stay on the football field. He's battling a swelling in that knee, and what a great game he had. I mean, he had 12 carries for 73 yards and a touchdown. He ended up having 2 catches for 19 yards and that awesome touchdown catch. You got to tip your cap to number 8, man. What a leader he is, and obviously trying to stay out there. And then, of course, number 7 left. I thought he had a concussion. I thought Quay had a concussion, and he ends up back on the field. So that was good.
I think it was back. I think it was back injury when he made a tackle. It looked like lower back or something, and then he came back out. So Quay probably playing through some pain too, right?
Yeah, and to add to that, Evan Williams too. He went out. I didn't
even realize that. Yeah, you said Zane was in, right? He was
ending in at 47 snaps, so he missed about 20 snaps or so of the total snaps. They said that they were pointing at his knee. So I don't know.
Damn, really? Oh, okay. So yeah, all sustained from some sort of an injury or aggravation today. 4 dropped interceptions.
That was brutal.
We talked about it was Carrington and Xavier McKinney with 2 dropped each. Is that right? I'm thinking right. Was it Carrington?
I don't know if that second one for X should count as a drop because I think he just, he came across the field and got his hand in there. It was just a clean PBU. I don't know how much of a chance.
Oh, when he punched it, Tim?
Yeah, when he punched it. I don't know if he's picking that off anyway, so I don't know if I'd count that as a drop.
Got it. Yeah.
But still, yeah, I know we had a chance there to flip it for sure. You get the fumble early, which is nice, right? But we only get 3 out of it, which is fine. You got to get points out of that. It's better than no points. But yeah, those hit you in the hands a couple times. We need one of those.
Yeah. And he went on to say, can't win with our best players in the locker room. I think it's very well said, Tron. I think it's a very reasonable take, man. You got, like I said, a number of backups out there trying to win a game against arguably the best defense in the league and a great up-and-coming young quarterback, I would say. King Tron goes on with another super chat. Thank you, Tron. He says, I'm sorry for so much negativity, everyone. It just feels like someone kicked my dog. I'm madder than hell right now. I love how he said that, too. See, he's speaking my language. I'm madder than hell right now. We can still win, just need to be tip-top. So thank you for the super. Hey, Tron, I don't think you're being negative, man. You're just speaking truth there, dude, Yep. That's it is what it is. Celestial Prophet with the super chat. Thank you, buddy. He says, I'm smoking the devil's lettuce tonight, boys. Hey, you do what you got to do. You do what you got to do there, Prophet.
I'm not going to lie. I was faded. I ain't going to lie. I was faded. Like,
nothing else to say. Jaden Reed handled it for us. All right, thank you, Prophet. Appreciate you, buddy. Donovan Schilling been a member for 18 months. He said Red Evan Williams was out with a knee too. So that's what you were talking about, right, Amelia? That's the first I heard of it. Again, it was just I felt like I was standing in the living room watching the game for the most part and holding a clipboard trying to chart, and it felt like the walls just getting closer and closer to me as every person kept leaving the game. But just a tough one there. But appreciate you being a member there, Donovan. You the man. Chuck Jagger says too much arm tackling.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll come back to that. Let me hit these super chats. I'm going to keep that mark. Y'all don't let me forget when we finish the super chats. I'm going to come back to that because I agree with that take, Chuck. I do, man. Godsmack with the super chat. Appreciate you, buddy. Says, well, we had a defense. Valentine's lack of tackling is becoming a major issue. I would agree with that. I think it is definitely his weak spot. Injuries are starting to ruin the NFL product. Yeah, just a devastating turd sandwich of epic proportions. What the flying F? So, anything you guys want to add there? Maybe the Carrington talk there, because he got beat over the top. Was it Sutton that beat him over the top down the sideline? But man, what a throw by Bo Nix. Am I wrong there? I mean, he just put it on the money. You know what play I'm talking about? I think that was in the second half, just a dime piece on the left sideline.
Yeah, that little soft fade there where he kind of, maybe it wasn't just fade working to the outside. It was fourth and 1 or something, and Carrington got you got to hold the inside leverage there, obviously, because why would you got to stop the quick slant over the deep ball. You got a safety over the top. Good spot for the ball to be placed, and you just couldn't get on top of him. Carrington knew it.
And that was the play with the bad challenge. Am I thinking right, Emilio?
Yes. Yeah, that's the one you weren't happy about.
You guys know I am a huge Matt LaFleur fan. I think he's the real deal. This does not change anything about how I feel about Matt LaFleur, but that challenge was horrendous. That was am I wrong here? Because maybe I'm looking at it the wrong way. I watched that replay back, and I'm like, who the hell told him to throw that challenge flag? And if nobody did, is he on the devil's lettuce? Because I didn't see anything that made me think, yeah, no, that's incomplete. Because again, that timeout's huge. Am I right?
Right.
Coming down the stretch. And also, it's not like one of those plays too where you can challenge on a second or a third down. It's almost okay if we don't get it. It's like we use a timeout. We can kind of reset, get the right play call. This was after a fourth down, right?
Right. So, and I think he was hoping for a quick flip. You know what I mean? Instead of them being on the 12 or whatever it was, I'll take the ball. Offense out there and go. But yeah, you're right. If they got any sort of look at that, they probably shouldn't have let them do it. And I think it wasn't one of those, like we've talked about, where you throw the challenge because you're planning on calling the timeout anyway. You probably needed that later on in the game, rather than right there.
Got it. Tim, you got anything to add to that super chat there, bud? Anything at all?
No, I think it's pretty well stated.
Yeah. Thank you, Godsmack. Appreciate you, buddy. I think I agree with pretty much everything you said there. Josh Martin with the super. Thank you, Bob. He says, I think he means Adam Scheffner. Initial reports are Parsons tore the ACL. Yeah, when he went to turn, you could see the knee shift from left to right. That's typically did you see it the same way, Amelia? You've got ACL experience there. Did that look like
and when I sent y'all the video of it, but just the second look at it from the side there, when you kind of saw it run up his calf sort of kind of ran up and sort of just expanded, I would say.
What do they call it?
Ruptured.
No, there's a when they tear their Achilles, you can see it's almost like it chases up.
Reverberated, or
There you go. College kid, you.
Yeah, no, but that's and not just the way he planted. Right when mine happened, I planted my left foot and I was opening my hips right to open my hips to the inside, and my foot stayed in the ground. His stayed in the ground when he tried to plant his outside foot to come back inside to cover Bo. And that's where you get a buckle here and there.
Yeah, absolutely. So
my knee,
ain't no perks gonna help that, boys. I'm just telling you.
Nope.
I mean, but the thing, like, you can walk off on it. That's the craziest thing too. Is like you all it takes is top of the knee, bottom of the top of the calf, bottom of the knee there. Shift it back and forth to see if it's disconnected. But you can walk on it. You can still move. It's just you can't be putting weight or trying to go horizontal with it.
Yeah. I didn't know for a second you were trying to give me hope, like, hey, look, we'll roll him out there next week.
No. I mean, unless it's like one of those Kingsley ones, where he didn't need surgery or anything like that.
That's still a mystery, right? I was waiting for that to pop up on the reboot of Unsolved Mysteries. Like, how the hell that happened? You know what I mean? Out of nowhere. So, Josh, thank you for the super, buddy. Appreciate you. Soda with the super chat. Thank you, sir. He says, Packers were super efficient on offense up to the deep shot pick. That was not great in-game management in that spot. I have to agree, but however, there was a couple times in our text thread, I'm sure you guys caught on. You probably got the vibe. I wanted us to be a little more conservative early in the second half, and we came out kind of firing. And then lo and behold, you get that tutter. You didn't hear me complain about the tutter, right?
Yeah, right.
So, but I completely agree with Soder. I wanted to get your all's take on that. I was actually going to ask you guys this. Did y'all feel like, even though that was a deep shot pick where you didn't lose a lot of field position, you almost picked up field position on it, did y'all feel like the air just came out of the Packers offense at that point, or do you think it was more about all the injuries just compounded?
No, that was definitely a turning point, I think, not getting that one. And, like we talked about in our chat, you'd like to see Jordan put that ball out there a little bit further, maybe miss long instead of missing short. But either way, Scoot's slamming down on that chest, getting that shoulder. So I don't know if you avoid the injury altogether, but you definitely avoid the pick if you leave it a little longer. We'll have to go back and watch all 22, but I'm sure Jordan had pressure in his face. I'd be willing to bet on it. So probably hard to really step into that throw. So he left it a little short. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, no, you're spot on, Tim. I think, like you said, a little short there, but I don't mind the look at all. I would 100% go for a chance. I mean, yeah, it's past Sertan, but at some point you got to challenge the guy, right? You can't be afraid to throw at him the entire time. Why would you not give your number 1 6'4" wide receiver a chance? He had it. It was there, but it just needed to be. If it was out in front 2 more feet, it's over. Watson probably catches that and is cruising. But I don't hate the look. I don't hate the attempt. We needed a wall. We needed to build the wall up front. I've been trying to say that from the beginning. We have cracks in the foundation, man. I don't even know if the foundation's there. Right? We'll talk about Belton later, man, but that was tough.
Yeah. We know what our early positional needs are going to be when we start putting together the draft board. We need guards and center and guards and –
we need who we need back, Tim.
Hold up. I had a line here. You said we need to build the wall, and I was going to say, what mortar you need shot in that crack right there in that wall, Emilio?
What kind of mortar, Clay?
You tell me, sir.
I'm pretty sure it would be Mr. Glove. The fact that we lost the linchpin in the offensive line early in the season was
this guy right here, man. Feels like it was 3 lifetimes.
You know what else is tough is Morgan didn't get any burn at all. With all the injuries, with the hang-ups, with the penalties, nothing.
It's kind of telling.
I don't know what's going on in there. Unless he's only left tackle, cool. But if Rashid had 4 penalties, when do you give him the shot? You know what I mean? When is it got to be injury based to give him the shot?
Yeah, and also you in the back of your mind as a coach, you got to be thinking we gave Belton all the reps all week, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yep.
Kind of like what you said last year about how we cut Bull a little bit of slack when he was having to practice his corner and then in the game have to go play safety because somebody got banged up, right? So, yeah, just tough. But Soder, thank you for the super chat, buddy. Completely agree with what you got there. Michael Diesel Train with a super chat. Thank you, pal. He says, man, I know it's next man up, but Parsons and these injuries, Parsons is a back breaker, fam. CW should be back with the chest. Yeah, I didn't even think about that, Michael. And listen, I agree with Parsons. It is a backbreaker, but maybe Christian Watson's back sooner rather than later. And like Tim said, you never know when things could heat back up, and you can rebound. You go out. I know this. You go to Chicago next week, no matter how banged up you are. If you go into Chi-Town and somehow get a win against that team that created a lot of momentum tonight. We fell flat with the momentum in the second half. They are riding a high right now, albeit it was Cleveland, but they looked really good on offense against a really good defense today. But again, even with all that being said, you go back in, short week, you game plan, you try to put together the best game plan to go in there and win. If you beat Chicago next week, even with all the injuries, it's going to be hard not to go, hey, you never know. Don't rule this team out, because with a week of preparation, with all the injuries, that the Packers had a week of preparation to put together a game plan both offensively and defensively to replay the Denver Broncos. I still like our chances of keeping it close. You know what I mean? It's probably going to be a 1-possession game like today. Am I wrong too? And thank you for that super chat, Michael. I'll ask you guys this question. It kind of got me thinking. Did you guys feel like it was more than an 8-point win? Like, to me, it just felt like by the time the game was over, I was just like, man, it doesn't even feel like this is a 1-possession game. Did y'all feel like that, or was that just me?
I don't know. I was still in it. We still had the chance when they went for it. All right, cool. Our defense made a stop. That gives you life. You get a chance. I was confident in Matt at least calling up something good for the 2-point, and I was hoping Jordan had the options to get us there, but he can't even get 5 seconds back there to spin it. You got him looking for Bo. Yeah, Tony Romo kept talking about the check down. That's cool, but Tony Romo wouldn't have hit the dude while he's running forward and the running backs to 8 yards to the right even with you. Like, there's no shot you're spinning that thing over there to him. So, yeah, it's tough looking at it after the fact, but I just like that we had an opportunity. Props to the defense still fighting through with the injuries, knowing that because they lost a lot. Yeah, our offense lost a lot of win with Christian. Cool. Our defense was kind of hanging in there. You lose a lot more win once the defense loses one. And that whole time Tom's out, for the offense, there's just so much that was stacked up on it. If we had come back and won it, way to put your head down, fight through, grind it out. All right, but we saw this is probably worst off. All right, yeah, we got the loss, cool, but we lost all these injuries. We lost our players at important positions. This was the worst of the worst. I mean, it's not like we can go down from here. Even if, whatever happens next week with the Bears, it's not going to be as bad as everything that we suffered today.
All right. I think it's a fair point. Thank you for the super, Michael. Appreciate you, buddy. King Tron with the super. We were good without 9 before, but now without number 1, sad emoji. Thinking emoji, sad emoji. Yeah, you got to think of how we played defense last year. We finished as a top 10 defense, right? And I do feel like our defense, even without Micah Parsons, is better this year than they were last year. But Tim, you can't just dismiss the fact of what Micah is. What it comes down to, Tim, is you've now got to adjust the game plan significantly, right? There's no more of that Joker 1 looks that we talk about with the 3-3-5 and him rushing the A gap. You got to get a little bit creative, and guys like LVN and Gary, which Gary, I thought he played pretty good. I know early on there had a couple of run stops. It was like, man, running down running backs from behind. I was thinking he heard them guys talking about him being slow, right? But yeah, without Micah, man, it does feel a little bit different here. But maybe it's just because we got so caught up in all the hype, because he's arguably the best defensive player in the league,
It's true, and it's not so much just hype for hype's sake, right? It's valid. Like you look at the numbers that he's put up this season, despite being held, 99% of snaps. He's a wrecker, man. He's a game wrecker, and that will have an impact on your D. But to your point, I think it's time. Yeah, we gotta see guys like Rashawn and Kingsley and Nagbare step up. We got to see a little bit of LVN out there today. Hopefully, that's a sign of things to come, and we'll see him getting more snaps as these next 3 games come upon us here to finish out the year. We're down, but we're not out. And I'm sure Coach Hafley is going to, make some adjustments to the scheme. Like you said, I don't see anyone else going into that Joker role the way Micah was able to kind of tilt the defense like that. Be a great time to get Colin Oliver back. Brenton Cox Jr., there's some guys on the other end here that, might be able to work back into the lineup here in the next few weeks, hopefully. So I'm not willing to say it's all over until it's over.
And last year, Emilio, I think we used Rashawn Gary in that spot a couple of times. I remember him standing up over the nose like that. Yep. It looks way different with Micah Parsons, obviously, but Gary, maybe they start to kick him in there on a couple of Joker 1 looks, especially when you want to compress the middle of the pocket on 3rd and long, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, and that's you still have to get to those kind of looks. It doesn't matter kind of who we're using. You could use LVN in there. You have a couple other options, but again, you're fighting through some top end losses. You lost Wyatt, you lost Micah. Whatever happens with Evan, that's on the defense, and then the O's got to work through it. So I think the D can still do it. I think Hafley can still get to some of those. If we have to get back to the schemed up, fire zone looks, we can do that. He did that a lot at the end of last year. But it's not just something that we have to, because we still have Coop. Quay got a little banged up, okay, but we have a lot of side-to-side speed. If the D-line can hold up, my thing is we need to worry about contain at this point. How are they going to get outside of us? I think that's where teams are going to try to exploit our edges without that Micah speed.
Yeah, that's a good point, because how many times have we seen Micah run them down like a superhuman, right?
And you saw tonight where Micah outran. I mean, Rashawn and Micah were at the same distance, and Micah just took off, dude. And and he just ran him down like it was no problem. So my thing, I'm just thinking back to the Caleb last time, where we were looking at Caleb run and Micah ran him down a couple times. Cool. I think we're going to need to keep contain on him, even if you need to bring up the secondary. But again, a quarterback on the move, Bo Nix, he put Bull in the pickle early in the game where they got that quick roll left dump and a 8-yard touchdown or whatever, because you put the corner of the secondary in a bind.
Yeah, that's a great point. Thank you for that super chat, Sean. Appreciate you, buddy. Caterpillar with the 20 spot. Appreciate you so much, Caterpillar. He says, well, I don't drink anymore, so I'll just donate the money I want to spend on a bottle. Cheers, LOL. But boy, was my sobriety put to the test today. Prayers up to all those are hurt. Yeah, amen to that, buddy. I haven't had a drop in a long time. It's been I want to say a couple months now, something like that. And I'm with you, man. It'll test you a little bit today for sure. But
couple old fashions, Clay.
Amelia said, "Hey, give me that orange, right? You got an orange in there, right? Is that what that is?"
Oh yeah.
All right. So what's in that coffee cup there? And it's funny you flash that up there, Tim, because we know tomorrow all those people that this week said Jordan Lord's the guy. It's going to be a complete 180 tomorrow, and all of a sudden he's a bum again, right? So, anything you guys want to add here to Caterpillar's generous super chat, man? Anything at all?
No, thanks for the super. That's awesome.
Yeah,
at least we got a little bit of a win today. Thanks, man.
There you go.
I'll make sure that Clay gives me my portion so I can go refill the bullet I got back there. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
Yeah, thank you for the super. We appreciate you, Caterpillar. We had a bunch of people jump in here just a second ago. If y'all would take a quick second, spin those laces for us, smash that like button that turns into a football. Pretty cool little feature. Hit that for us real quick. That'll help boost the algorithm. Also, if you're new here, thanks for making us part of your post-game festivities. Wish it could be a little bit better situation, obviously a lot better situation with all the injuries, but we greatly appreciate y'all hanging out with us. And we're going to go through the box score here in a second, kind of talk about what the playoff picture looks like. But hit like, subscribe, click the bell icon so you're notified when we go live. Deadfish in here says, is there any way Parsons can be back for the playoffs, or is he done? If it's ACL, he's done, Deadfish. And
I would anticipate he'd be back pretty quick. I think about how Rashawn rehabbed his ACL a couple years back and was ahead of schedule. Mike is a freak, man, so – but if that is what it is, yeah, he's done for the year.
Yeah, to me, Emilio, it would feel like, I agree with Tim. To me, it feels like you're September at the earliest, right?
Yep.
Right, 9 months.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you probably wouldn't want to rush him. Do whatever he can to get back. If you're back by October, who cares? It's not one of those things that you need him back in September.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
So, Deadfish, appreciate the question, man. But if it's an ACL yet. Now, listen, if it comes back and it's an MCL somehow, some way, I don't expect that, but that would be
meniscus. He could probably get back in a couple weeks, but the way you saw it go all the way through the leg, I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. Appreciate you, Deadfish. You the man. All right, let's jump into the box score. That sound good, fellas? We'll just kind of relive this game real quick. We'll hit that, then we'll go to the playoff updates and all that. There was one point during the day where we had everything going our way. It was like, oh my God, we're going to
halftime. By halftime, I was like, okay, I was feeling all right. We're in good shape.
The Seahawks. It was like, holy cow, we're going to be the number 1 seed, boys. This is awesome. And then all hell broke loose there in the second half. So that's just the way it shakes sometimes. So let's jump into the box score a little bit. So Jordan Love finishes the day 24 of 40, 276 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. He was sacked 3 times for a loss of 29 yards. There was a couple times I was screaming, just throw the ball out of bounds, Jordan. I think he made a couple mental mistakes there, but at the same time, man, he had pressure all over him all day. So I can understand how you come away with that. Bo Nix, boys, that's a staple game for Bo Nix. 23 of 34, 302 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, no picks. He dominated today. We did a really good job stopping their run game. I want to say their rushing offense was like 10th best in the league, somewhere around that mark at yards per carry, I believe. Held them to 31 carries for 89 yards and a touchdown. Again, Bo Nix creating those secondary windows, changing the arm angle, doing everything he had to do to try to win that ball game. Had a hell of a day. Josh Jacobs, 12 carries, 73 yards on 1 freaking leg with 1 touchdown, a long of 40, by the way. Had that, like I said, that touchdown run. And then, of course, in the receiving game, like we said, our boy Josh Jacobs had 2 catches for 19 yards, including that awesome contested catch there in the end zone for the touchdown. So he obviously had a good game. Let's go back to the quarterback play. Anything you guys want to add to the quarterback play? How do y'all feel about Bo Nix? Am I giving him too much credit, or did you guys see the same thing I seen today?
No, he was humming that tater today. That one he had for the tutter early too, that nose down right in between our coverage. Great ball placement. Yeah, the kid's talented. I'm not a fan, but he plays really well. And I think it would be unfair not to give credit where credit is due, right? And he played a hell of a game today.
Gotcha. I'll pop that back up in a second. Emilio, what's your thoughts on Bo Nix? Then we'll answer the super chat from Soder.
Yeah, Bo Nix, early prelim grade of an 84.2, 84.7 passing, 60 run block. We kind of asked him to beat us, and he sort of did. You know what I mean? We had to make sure that we stopped the run. That was where they were excelling, and they were a short pass sort of team. He hit us over the top a few times, and that's something that just – he bid on that one out and up. Carrington got beat on that over the shoulder fade. It's not like it's it's not the corner's fault, but those 3 plays or whatever, those things are magnified. Every time you see something like that, 40-yard, 30-yard flip, that's a field flipper, game changer sort of play. And then you can sort of nickel and dime it and move it from there. A couple of times that we were close, body rolls over the top for first downs, tackling. I think that, at least it was an AFC opponent. In the grand scheme of things, losing to the AFC's top contender isn't horrible right now during the regular season. But again, everything's just going to fall back on how much, you lost and how much you were bleeding this game from the injuries, right? And that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah. Soder with the super chat said, why can't Green Bay get consistent depth on their zone drops? It's a year after year thing, voids everywhere. I don't know, man. I got to disagree with that, Soder, respectfully, of course. I think our pass defense has been great this year. Now, today, you had some situations like we were breaking down a play in real time. The game's going on, and me and Emilio was trying to dissect the play. All right, was that Tampa 2 or not, right? And if it was a 3-by-1 set, it felt like it should have been McDuffie that would have gotten deeper. But however, it was a 2-by-2 set, which means the 2, if the 1 or the 2 goes vert in a match situation, then the safety on that side would cover the 2, and he should clamp down on that. Instead, he was, I believe it was a safety, or it might have been an invert Carrington Valentine. I can't remember, but they were kind of just hanging out in the back line of the end zone. I'm like, what the hell are they doing? So I didn't see it as McDuffie didn't get enough depth there. I felt like the safety wasn't aggressive enough underneath. So match situation, Soder, which is the majority of what I seen today. I didn't see a whole lot of spot drop, which is true zone defense. But I hate to pile on, but, the guys know this was coming. I was in the text thread. I'm just not overly impressed with Quay. I feel like there's times where he's kind of covering grass. And I know that's not how the scheme is designed. Okay, you just stay right here in this spot. Don't go anywhere. He had a crucial missed tackle there at one point too. So sometimes those voids look bigger than they actually are when you're just kind of sitting back and not really attacking. I'd rather you make a mistake. You know what I mean? Like make a mistake big as opposed to, oh crap, now he's on me, up, he made me miss. And so Soder says, yeah, it was McDuffie on the touchdown. I disagree. And Emilio, did you come to the conclusion that you agree with me there, or did you think that was McDuffie that should have carried that guy?
Yeah, I thought at first I really did think it was McDuffie just because he had higher depth than the rest of the linebackers. But when I saw Key start to carry that outside guy at the bottom of the screen there, he started carrying him pretty high. I kind of got off of that and maybe thought you were probably on it with there, even if it was maybe a 6 or something, right. 2 to one side, and then you got to pick it up if you're that 4 look there. But just a dart, right? I mean, you fired in the seam over top of 2 defenders. The rush doesn't get there in time. It just they beat us. Bo was spinning it, and at that point, all right, fine. That's where you got to take all this tape and learn from it. Because that's something that you can take into next year. Because every team's going to look at it now. It's only the second game I think we've given up that's over 300 yards passing this year. So it's not like it's happened a lot. The defense hasn't gotten diced up like that, but perfect learning material from this game from it. Yeah.
So and again we'll have to go look at the all 22 and kind of dissect. And even then, guys, when we break down the all 22, hopefully we're vocal enough when we do chalk talk that we're not in the meeting room, right? So there's no way we're going to bat 1,000. No way that we can say with 100% certainty, here's what it is. But we do try to give you 2 or 3 reference points from other techniques being played on the specific play and how they're adjusting on the fly to the play that's called on offense. So we usually got a really good idea of, okay, yeah, this is probably the call here, right? Yeah. Now sometimes they tip their hand. I know the coaches don't like that. Like last week, Evan Williams probably got scolded by the coaches by saying, yeah, that was my guy and Keyshawn saved me. It's like, probably don't need to say that because now that tells everybody that was a true man coverage play. And you know what I mean? Yeah. And you're kind of splitting hairs there, but yeah.
But if he's talking about that one 3rd down, I think it was to Sutton, where we were in like a mug coffee house sort of look, and Coop and Quay, I'm pretty sure, both dropped, and they're both getting back to their spot. Carrington gets put in the bind where the dude's running the dude in the motion runs the out, and then you got Sutton crossing his face. There's not much you can do there. I mean, it's you're just splitting the zones. He got it out fast. It was timing and rhythm. We had a couple of those when you get those speed outs to Watson and stuff like that. You just can't beat that sometimes if you got the leverage. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I double checked. The only other one would have been Cowboys. Dak threw over 319. So it's not like this defense has given up a bunch of passing yards. We've kept all quarterbacks under 300. Bo and Dak excluded.
Yeah, definitely. So appreciate the super chat, Soder. Thank you so much, man. Really appreciate it. Make sure we didn't miss anything else. Eric Sutherland said Bo Nix had protection. Funny how that works. Yeah, I mean, it makes a difference. It definitely makes a difference, Eric. No doubt about it, man. Felt like Bo had better protection today. Do you agree with that, Tim?
Oh yeah, definitely. He looked like he was at least able to be comfortable at times back there. I mean, we did get home a few times, right? Flushed him out. But he was able to throw from the well on a couple of those, and then when he had to throw on the run, he was great, But I do think the protection was I don't even think that's up for debate. I think he was the better protected quarterback today for sure.
And I don't think anybody's going to say that Jordan is just as mobile as Bo Nix either. Like Bo Nix was pretty. He's sneaky quick. He really is, man.
Yep.
Yeah. Chester Marco with Super Chat said we need an ignore button to block a poster/posters. If you're talking about people who put in the chat or post in the chat that you don't want to see, you can actually block them on YouTube. I'm not saying anybody should do that. I'm just telling you how it works. You can block them or mute them or what have you, and you'll never see their posts anymore, and they won't see yours. It's just like they disappear from the face of the earth, but they can still comment in here and argue with people if they want. Now, if it gets to the point where somebody's just coming in trolling, then obviously we can protect the chat because we don't want it to turn into that. We're all here to talk about the game, have a good time, treat each other with respect, and obviously keep the knuckleheads out of here and keep the turds out of the punch bowl, if you know what I mean. So, but yeah, you should be able to individually do that. Is that right, Emilio?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he followed it up with, well, then please disregard my super chat, Clayton. So he got it squared away. I get that every time. Yeah, you lose some of those, Clay, in Ultimate Team. When you go against duos and you get kind of get stomped on a little bit. They got they spend way too much money on it. You go to quick, real fast. EA, I'm gonna block that dude real fast. I don't want any communications with the dude that just whacks me in an Ultimate Team game.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So again, it's just for me. I just don't have time to deal with negative people. Like you guys know, I'm on Twitter. I've spent such a large amount of time trying to clean up my social media to where, all right, I'm weeding the negative folks out to where it's like, if the only time I hear from you, it's negative, or if you've got something disrespectful to say on a tweet, like if I tweet something out, that's my opinion. I don't go commenting on other people's tweets. I don't troll people like that. Right. It's like, if somebody asks my opinion, hey man, what's your honest opinion? I'll give it. Right. On their tweets. If they ask for a reply, but if somebody tweets something, I was taught, you don't go knocking on somebody's door and go, hey, you're a dumbass. You know what I mean? So if somebody does that to me, it's real simple. I just lock the door, pretend like they don't exist. So that's the way I try to roll there. Because again, man, life's too short, and I watch football to enjoy football. I watch football to learn about football. I watch football to find new buddies, to talk the game with. I don't need the people who just comment just to be negative or just roll like that. It's just not worth it, man. So, and I am always amazed though. The thing that amazes me the most is the amount of people who cannot accept the fact that you don't want to talk to them. Like, all right, man, we're obviously not on the same page. You see the game different than I see it, and that's okay, right? But I don't want to have an argument with you. We don't even know each other. Like, whether you're a Joe Rogan fan or not, Joe Rogan said something one time. He said, there's a lot of mental illness going on in our country on social media that people – he said, you understand, you're mentally ill if you go on social media to argue with a stranger you never met and you keep that argument. It takes a different kind of person to approach it that way. Like, right. Are you I just don't understand it. Don't get it, man. It is what it is. So
no, I got you, Clay.
Let's see what John Baker's probably disagreeing with me here. Let's see what the super chat says. Appreciate you, John. He says, I thought the deep pass to Watson was too aggressive opening the second half. Obviously, hindsight 2020. Wanted to see us shift to run heavy since we had the lead go back go. See, me and you are the same person. John Baker is my burner account. But again, when it works, John, you and I don't complain, right? Mm-hmm. And tonight, it worked in the second half. Am I wrong, guys? Am I misremembering that?
No, we went down and scored, right? And then this would have been the second possession of the second half. And you take a shot. Me, I'm throwing that ball 10 out of 10 times. I'm
Right.
going to be honest. I'm throwing that thing because you got to do with updated 97 speed on Madden, Clay, Christian Watson over the top. I'm taking that look over Surtain. I don't care if the dude's 99, whatever you want him to be. I got faith in my guy. You're throwing that up there, Jordan. But again, Tim was talking about it. Dude got cracked. I mean, we cannot have that sort of line. We had a good well last game. We had a pretty good well. We went over it in Chalk Talk against the Bears. This D-line was cooking us. Our O-line felt like they were just getting battered out there. I don't know what happened.
Yep.
Yeah, and so kind of back to what John's saying here. I feel like you were too aggressive on that second drive, but again, man, I felt like you were too aggressive on the first drive, and it worked. So, as Greg Rice says, scared money don't make money, right? So, when it works, we love it. When it don't, we don't, right?
Scared money don't make money.
If it wasn't, 2 yard or two short, that's probably 6. I mean, if he could have stepped into that, that's probably 6.
Right. And that's not a shot at Love. Again, we got to go back and watch the tape, but I feel like in real time, he couldn't really step into the throw. So he just kind of – and here's the thing, too. I also look at Watson like he should have been able to adjust the ball a little bit more, right?
But then everybody was mad at him, but also everyone was mad at him earlier in the year, Clay, when he tried to play defense and didn't go to catch the ball.
That's
so
true.
This time, what's if he went to play defense and broke it up, and then why didn't he go to catch that one? He could have had it. So it's
yeah.